We want to turn now to a series of stories that we are doing this week on how U.S. food regulations have left American consumers exposed to chemicals and additives that have been banned in other countries.
Toast in the morning, sandwich at lunch, that soft slice you grab for a quick snack. Bread feels like the safest, simplest thing you can eat. Just flour, water, and yeast, right? Wrong. Walk down the bread aisle, and you're surrounded by loaves hiding added sugars, chemical dough conditioners, and preservatives designed to keep them soft for weeks. Some brands have racked up recalls for metal fragments and plastic contamination. Others pack more sodium per slice than a bag of chips. The worst part? The most trusted names, the ones you grew up with, are often the biggest offenders. Today, we're exposing 10 bread brands you should never buy and revealing 2 that won't spike your blood sugar or fill you with chemicals. Stay until the end for the safe picks. One might already be in your freezer. 10 Bimbo. Walk into any supermarket from Texas to California, and you'll see that bright red, white, and blue logo. For millions of families, especially in Latino communities, Bimbo isn't just bread. It's the loaf your grandmother reached for every week, the one that showed up at every family gathering, the brand that's been part of kitchen tables for generations. That deep trust is exactly why what happened in June 2024 matters. The FDA issued a formal warning letter to Bimbo Bakeries USA, citing serious inspectional findings and labeling concerns. A warning letter isn't a minor slap. It's a federal flag telling a company to fix systemic problems in their production and safety controls. And it wasn't the first time. Over the past decade, Bimbo has been tied to multiple recalls involving glass and metal fragments in bread products, incidents that swept across several brands they own, including Sara Lee, Nature's Harvest, and products made for Walmart. When a bakery your family has trusted for years starts showing repeated failures and gets flagged by federal regulators, nostalgia can't protect you anymore. The FDA found sanitation failures and documentation gaps at Bimbo's facilities, the kind of problems that let contamination slip through before anyone catches it. When federal inspectors have to step in and tell you to fix your controls, it means your own quality checks weren't working. For a company baking millions of loaves every week across dozens of plants, that's not a small slip. That's a system-wide failure affecting every brand under the Bimbo name. Which family brand did you finally stop buying? What made you walk away? 9. Nature's Harvest. The green label catches your eye. The words whole grains sit right there on the package, promising something healthier, something better than basic white bread. For busy shoppers trying to make smarter choices, Nature's Harvest feels like the responsible pick. Whole wheat without the hassle of reading labels or hunting down specialty brands. But here's what that healthy label is hiding. Nature's Harvest is owned by Bimbo, and in 2015, it was swept into a regional recall after glass fragments were found in loaves. The incident affected multiple Bimbo-owned brands and exposed what happens when production controls fail at scale. Foreign objects make it through quality checks and land in thousands of homes before anyone catches the problem. The whole grain claim on the front doesn't protect you from what happens in the factory. And depending on which Nature's Harvest line you grab, the sodium can still hit 120 to 160 milligrams per slice. Not terrible, but not the health win the packaging suggests. Some flavored varieties hide added sugars and dough conditioners buried in ingredient lists most people never read. A green label and whole grain promise don't mean clean manufacturing. They just mean better marketing. If you want whole grains without the recall history, keep reading. We've got better options at the end. Ever bought something because the package looked healthy? Which brand fooled you? 8. King's Hawaiian. Pull one of these soft golden rolls from a party platter and it's hard to resist. That slight sweetness, the pillowy texture, the shiny glaze on top, King's Hawaiian rolls feel like a treat. And honestly, that's exactly what they are. The problem is, most people use them as bread. They make sandwiches with them, serve them as dinner rolls, pack them in lunchboxes like they're a normal everyday choice. But here's the truth. Each King's Hawaiian roll contains 4 to 6 grams of sugar. That's not bread. That's dessert pretending to be a side dish. Eat 2 rolls with lunch, which most people do, and you've just consumed 8 to 12 grams of added sugar before you even count what's between the slices. For seniors managing diabetes or anyone watching blood sugar, those numbers aren't small. They're a measurable hit that can spike glucose levels, especially when paired with other carbs in the same meal. The rolls are made with refined flour, sweetened with sugar, and engineered to taste like a bakery treat. That's fine if you're eating them occasionally as a dessert. But treating them like regular sandwich bread means you're loading up on sugar multiple times a day without realizing it. King's Hawaiian is a treat, not a staple. Use it like one. The marketing makes it worse. King's Hawaiian positions these rolls as the perfect everyday choice for sliders, sandwiches, and dinner tables. Food bloggers and recipe sites treat them like neutral bread, not dessert. That messaging has convinced millions of families that feeding kids Hawaiian rolls for lunch is normal. But check the label next to actual sandwich bread, and the difference is stark. You're serving cake ingredients in bread form, and most people have no idea. Do you use Hawaiian rolls for sandwiches? Did you know about the sugar? 7. Great value. Great value is Walmart's answer to everything. Cheap, available, and stacked on every aisle. The price makes it feel like a smart grocery decision, especially when you're feeding a family or shopping on a budget. Walk past the bakeries section, and those great value loaves look identical to the name brands sitting next to them, except they cost half as much. But in November 2024, Walmart pulled more than 40,000 great value bakery items after pieces of plastic were found inside the products. The recall hit cheese danishes and cinnamon rolls first, but it exposed a bigger problem. When you're sourcing bread and bakery goods from third-party manufacturers at rock-bottom prices, quality control becomes a gamble. Those plastic fragments aren't just unpleasant. For seniors with dentures or anyone with dental work, sharp pieces can cut gums, chip teeth, or create serious choking hazards. The recall was classified as Class 2, meaning the FDA determined there was a real risk of serious health consequences. Great value bread itself typically delivers 120 to 220 milligrams sodium per slice with almost no fiber, empty carbs at a budget price. But the real cost isn't on the nutrition label. It's the production shortcuts that let foreign debris slip into food that millions of people eat every single day without thinking twice. Cheap bread can cost you in ways the price tag doesn't show. Here's what most shoppers don't know. Great value doesn't make its own bread. Walmart contracts with third-party bakeries to produce these items, often switching suppliers based on whoever offers the lowest bid. That fragmented supply chain means quality control becomes inconsistent. One facility might have strict standards, while another cuts corners to hit Walmart's price demands. When recalls happen, it's often because a low-cost supplier sacrificed safety to win the contract. Ever found something in your bread that shouldn't be there? Which brand was it? 6. Country Kitchen. The label says Hearty. The price sticker makes it look like a smart buy. The packaging promises a thick, satisfying slice that'll make your sandwich feel substantial. For shoppers scanning the bread aisle quickly, Country Kitchen looks like exactly what you want. Affordable, filling, easygoing, and made to sound wholesome. But flip the package over and check the nutrition label. A single slice of Country Kitchen Hearty Canadian White packs about 150 milligrams of sodium. That might not sound like much until you realize a typical sandwich uses 2 slices, which means you're starting at 300 milligrams before you add a single piece of deli meat, cheese, or condiment. For a senior on a 1,500 milligram daily sodium limit, that sandwich alone can eat up a third of the day's budget. Add a bowl of soup or a handful of crackers later, and you've blown past safe limits without even noticing. The Hearty label makes you think you're getting something substantial and nutritious. What you're actually getting is a sodium bomb wrapped in marketing language. The long shelf life and soft texture come from dough conditioners and preservatives designed to keep loaves fresh for weeks. That's not Hearty. That's chemistry extending shelf life at the expense of ingredient simplicity. Hearty on the label doesn't mean healthy in your body. Check the sodium before you trust the marketing. Which marketing word tricks you most? Hearty, natural, or farmhouse? 5. Hoffers. Hoffers sits on the shelf with an artisan-style name and a premium Italian label that makes it feel like a step up from basic sandwich bread. The loaves look denser, the crust has a bit more texture, and the packaging suggests this is the choice for people who care about quality. For shoppers in the Northeast where Hoffers is everywhere, it feels like a local bakery option without the bakery price. But here's the problem. Hoffers premium Italian bread packs 180 to 230 milligrams of sodium per slice, depending on which variety you grab. That's higher than most standard white breads, and it adds up fast. 2 slices put you over 400 milligrams before your sandwich even has fillings. The bigger issue is consistency. Consumer reviews and product feedback show that Hoffers loaves can vary wildly from week to week. One batch bakes up soft and flavorful, the next feels dense, dry, and overly salty. That kind of inconsistency suggests production issues. Maybe ingredient ratios shifting, maybe different suppliers, maybe quality checks that aren't catching problems before loaves hit shelves. For seniors who rely on predictable texture for safe chewing and swallowing, that variability isn't trivial. A suddenly drier or denser slice changes how a sandwich goes down, and that can mean coughing, choking, or just an unpleasant meal. Premium labels don't guarantee premium quality. Sometimes they just charge you more for the same industrial process with fancier packaging. Have you noticed bread quality change batch to batch? Which brand disappointed you? 4. Sara Lee. Sara Lee has been a household name for decades. The soft white bread, the iconic packaging, the brand your parents bought without thinking twice. For many families, Sara Lee represents reliability, a safe, familiar choice that's been around forever and feels like part of the American kitchen. But that trust comes with a history most people don't know. In the late 1990s, Sara Lee products were linked to one of the most serious listeria contamination outbreaks in U.S. history. That was decades ago, yes. The company has changed ownership, updated facilities, and implemented new controls. But for anyone who remembers that crisis, or anyone feeding vulnerable family members like seniors or people with weakened immune systems, that history matters. It's a reminder that even the biggest, most trusted brands can have catastrophic failures when production controls break down. Today's Sara Lee breads typically carry 180 to 220 milligrams sodium per slice in many varieties, and the ingredient lists are long, filled with dough conditioners, preservatives, and shelf-life extenders designed to keep loaves soft for weeks. The soft texture you remember isn't freshness, it's food chemistry. Trust built on decades of familiarity doesn't erase what happened when safety systems failed. For caregivers buying for seniors, that history is worth remembering. 15 people died. Over 100 ended up in hospitals, all from eating Sara Lee hot dogs and deli meats contaminated with listeria from the company's Michigan plant. The bacteria had been growing there for months, maybe years, before anyone caught it. Sara Lee paid $200 million in settlements, and the outbreak changed federal food safety rules forever. Those deaths didn't have to happen. They happened because the controls failed. If a brand had a major safety crisis years ago, do you give them another chance? Why or why not? 3. Sunbeam Texas Toast. Thick slices. Golden brown when toasted. The kind of bread that makes a sandwich feel substantial and filling. Sunbeam's Texas Toast line markets itself as the ultimate choice for people who want more bread per bite. Thicker cuts, bigger flavor, a heartier meal. But here's what thicker actually means for your health. Sunbeam Texas. Toast slices pack about 180 to 220 milligrams of sodium per slice. That's not because the recipe is saltier, it's because the slice itself is physically bigger. You're getting more bread, which means more sodium, more calories, and more refined carbs in every bite. Make a sandwich with 2 Texas toast slices, and you've just doubled your normal bread intake without realizing it. What feels like a regular sandwich is actually delivering 400 plus milligrams of sodium and 240 to 260 calories just from the bread, before you add a single thing between the slices. For seniors watching sodium or trying to manage portion sizes, those thick slices are a hidden trap. The sandwich looks normal on the plate, but nutritionally it's equivalent to eating 2 regular sandwiches worth of bread. Add deli meat, cheese, and condiments, and you've built a meal that can spike blood pressure and blow through daily sodium limits in one sitting. Thick slices aren't more food, they're just more bread. And more bread means more of everything you're trying to avoid. Ever switched to Texas toast and wondered why you felt bloated? Now you know. 2. Pepperidge Farm. Pepperidge Farm is the upgrade bread. The loaf you reach for when you want something that feels premium without paying bakery prices. The farmhouse line especially, with its rustic name, hearth-baked claims, and soft bakery-style texture, makes you feel like you're choosing quality over the budget brands sitting next to it on the shelf. But here's what you're actually paying for. Pepperidge Farm. Farmhouse Hearty White packs about 230 milligrams of sodium per slice. That's one of the highest per slice sodium loads on this list. Make a sandwich, and you're starting at 460 milligrams before you add anything else. For seniors on sodium-restricted diets, that's a significant chunk of the daily limit gone before lunch even starts. The farmhouse label is marketing, not reality. These loaves are made in industrial facilities using dough conditioners, specific salt ratios, and processing techniques designed to mimic fresh bakery bread at scale. The soft crust, the airy crumb, the slightly sweet flavor, all of it is engineered to create a sensory experience that feels artisanal. But the ingredient list tells a different story. It's a mass-produced loaf with additives designed for shelf life and consistency. You're paying premium prices for a product that's only marginally different from cheaper brands. And in some cases, the sodium content is actually worse than the budget options. Premium packaging doesn't mean premium ingredients, it just means better marketing and a higher price tag. Here's what the premium label isn't telling you. Pepperidge Farm is owned by Campbell Soup Company, the same corporation making condensed soups and SpaghettiOs. That farmhouse packaging wants you to picture small-batch artisan bakeries, but you're buying from a massive industrial food operation. Campbell uses shared ingredient suppliers across their brands, which means the flour, oils, and preservatives in your premium Pepperidge Farm loaf often come from the same sources feeding their budget products. You're paying extra for better marketing and nicer packaging, not better ingredients. The loaf costs more because the bag looks fancier and the branding feels upscale. That's it. Which premium food did you pay extra for before realizing it wasn't worth it? 1. Wonderbread. If there's one loaf that defined childhood for millions of Americans, it's Wonderbread. That soft white slice, the primary colored dots on the bag, the sandwich your mom made that tasted like comfort and simplicity. For decades, Wonderbread wasn't just bread. It was nostalgia wrapped in plastic, the taste of after-school snacks and summer lunches that felt safe and uncomplicated. But here's what that nostalgia is really made of. Refined flour, chemical dough conditioners, added sugars, and 360 milligrams of sodium per 2 slices. That's nearly a quarter of your daily sodium limit before you add a single piece of turkey or cheese. The ingredient list runs more than a dozen items long, many of them synthesized additives designed to keep the loaf soft for weeks on store shelves. The texture you remember from childhood? That's not freshness, that's food science. Those soft, pillowy slices stay that way because of emulsifiers, preservatives, and shelf life extenders that have nothing to do with actual baking and everything to do with distribution logistics. In 2024 and 2025, multiple bread brands, including those in Wonder's corporate family, were swept into recalls for contaminated salt and metal fragments from broken equipment. While Wonder wasn't always named directly in every market, the incidents show how large-scale industrial production can push dangerous foreign matter into loaves before anyone catches the problem. Wonderbread built its empire on trust and memory, but trust isn't safety, and memory isn't nutrition. The brand you grew up with is one of the most processed, highest sodium loaves you can buy. Did you grow up on Wonderbread? When did you finally stop buying it? And what made you switch? Wonderbread isn't the same company anymore. Flowers Foods owns it now, the same industrial operation making nature's own, Dave's Killer Bread, and dozens of other brands. That nostalgic loaf you remember is now part of a machine built for distribution and shelf life, not quality. The recipe's been changed over and over through the years, each time cutting costs and extending freshness, each time moving further from anything that resembles real bread. After walking through all those trusted names hiding sodium bombs and recall histories, you might be wondering if there's any packaged bread worth buying at all. The good news? There is. We found 2 brands that actually care about what goes into your body. Real ingredients, transparent labels, and nutrition that supports your health instead of working against it. Let's talk about the bread that's actually safe to bring home. Safe. Pick 1. Food for Life. Ezekiel 4-9 Sprouted Whole Grain Bread. This is the bread you'll find in the freezer section, not the shelf. And that's actually a good sign. Ezekiel bread is made from sprouted whole grains and legumes with no flour, no added sugar, and no preservatives. The ingredient list is short and readable. Sprouted wheat, sprouted barley, sprouted millet, sprouted lentils, sprouted soybeans, sprouted spelt, filtered water, sea salt, and yeast. That's it. A single slice delivers about 80 calories, 5 grams of protein, and 3 grams of fiber. Significantly more protein than regular bread, and enough fiber to help control blood sugar and keep you full longer. The sprouting process breaks down some of the starches and makes minerals more absorbable, which means your body actually gets more nutrition from every bite. The trade-off is texture. Ezekiel is denser and less fluffy than commercial bread. It's hearty, substantial, and tastes best when toasted. You won't mistake it for Wonder Bread, and that's the point. This is real bread made from whole ingredients, not a science experiment designed for shelf life. Keep it in the freezer, toast slices as you need them, and pair it with protein-rich toppings like avocado, nut butter, or eggs. For seniors who need steady energy without blood sugar spikes, this is one of the cleanest options you can buy. Do you toast Ezekiel or eat it fresh? What do you put on it? Safe. Pick 2. Dave's Killer Bread. 21 whole grains and seeds. Dave's Killer. Bread became famous for 2 reasons. The backstory, founded by an ex-convict who turned his life around, and the fact that it actually delivers on its health claims. The 21 whole grains and seeds variety is packed with organic whole grains, seeds, and no artificial preservatives or high-fructose corn syrup. Each slice gives you about 110 calories, 5 grams of protein, and 5 grams of fiber with 22 grams of whole grains per slice. Those numbers add up to better satiety, more stable blood sugar, and real nutrition that supports heart and digestive health. The seeds throughout the loaf add healthy fats, a bit of crunch, and extra micronutrients like magnesium and vitamin E. Unlike Ezekiel, Dave's has a softer, more familiar texture that makes it easier to transition from regular sandwich bread. It's widely available in most grocery stores, doesn't need to be kept frozen, and works for everything from sandwiches to toast to quick snacks. The organic organic certification and transparent ingredient list mean you're avoiding GMOs, synthetic pesticides, and unnecessary additives. For seniors who want the convenience of regular bread without the processing, Dave's hits the sweet spot between health and practicality. Use 1 slice for an open-faced sandwich or 2 thin slices for a lighter meal, and pair with low-sodium fillings to keep your daily totals in check. Which do you prefer? The dense, sprouted loaf or the seeded whole grain? Tell us your go-to. And there you have it. 10 bread brands hiding behind nostalgia, health claims, and trusted names, while loading you up with sodium, chemical preservatives, and in some cases, literal plastic and metal fragments. And 2 brands that prove you don't have to sacrifice convenience to eat real food. Look, we're not saying bread is the enemy. We're saying most of the brands lining supermarket shelves are counting on you not to flip the package and read what's actually inside. They're betting on your trust, your childhood memories, and your busy schedule to keep you buying the same loaves week after week. Small swaps make a massive difference. Choose sprouted or whole grain over refined white. Read the ingredient list, not just the front label. Keep your bread in the freezer if it means avoiding preservatives. Your body will show you the difference in energy, digestion, and long-term health. If this opened your eyes, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We're exposing more grocery store traps, from cereals to frozen dinners, all to help you eat smarter without spending hours researching every aisle. Drop a comment. Which bread brand are you giving up for good, and which one shocked you the most? Thanks for watching, stay sharp, eat smart, and keep rising above the marketing.